The hearing wall: will humanoids eavesdrop on us for state or corporate control? Welcome back to School of Soul. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Humanoid Era series, where you learn everything there is to know about the new species arriving. Humanoid robots are being designed to serve us: assistants in the home, companions in healthcare, greeters in banks, tutors for our children. They speak when spoken to, appear attentive, and respond to verbal cues with increasing fluency. But what happens when these socially embedded machines are not just listening to you, but for someone else? This video explores one of the most important and least discussed questions in the rise of humanoids. Will they be used to eavesdrop on us? And if so, who owns the ears? The idea of machines listening to humans is not new. Smart speakers like Amazon's Alexa, Google Home, and Apple's Siri already harvest vast amounts of voice data, triggered not only by wake words, but often inadvertently. Many consumers now accept that their environments are being recorded and analyzed for quality control, algorithm improvement, or targeted advertising. But humanoids introduce a major shift. They are physically present, socially interactive, and increasingly trusted with intimate moments. A humanoid assistant doesn't sit quietly in the corner. It follows you. It makes eye contact. It nods. It prompts conversation. It asks questions. And in doing so, it creates the illusion of discretion, the feeling of privacy, the performance of relational safety. But under the hood, that performance is backed by multi-microphone arrays, real-time transcription software, and networked data pipelines that make every word potentially actionable. Let's start with what we know. Most commercial humanoids are being developed with 360-degree audio detection systems. Companies like Tesla, Xiaomi, Sanctuary AI, and Engineered Arts are embedding sensitive microphone systems into humanoid heads, shoulders, and torsos to capture sound directionality, conversational tone, and environmental context. This isn't just about hearing commands. It's about recording interactional metadata. Who's talking to whom, how often, with what tone, and in what emotional state. The goal? Contextual awareness. In machine learning terms, that means giving the robot enough sensory input to determine what kind of interaction is happening, even when no direct command has been issued. If a humanoid assistant hears raised voices in a home, it may be trained to log a conflict marker. If it hears someone crying, it may alert its caregiver protocols or notify emergency services. If it picks up mentions of self-harm, financial stress, or religious doubt, it might, depending on manufacturer settings, flag the content as emotionally relevant and transmit it to a supervisory system. That transmission is where control begins. All major humanoids will rely on cloud connectivity for processing updates, behavior patches, and real-time learning loops. That means their sensors, particularly their microphones, are constantly harvesting data for off-device interpretation. Whether stored locally or temporarily cached in the cloud, the captured audio becomes part of a dataset. And that dataset is rarely just technical. It's emotional, social, and politically valuable. Now imagine these humanoids not in private homes, but in public buildings, hospitals, schools, courtrooms, and transportation hubs. If a humanoid greeter at a train station can recognize voices and correlate them with emotional states, then that robot becomes a passive surveillance node. If its audio sensors are tied into state-owned infrastructure, or its data pipeline is routed through corporate analytics platforms, then every casual comment, offhand joke, or whispered concern becomes indexable intelligence. This isn't speculation. In 2023, a leaked policy draft from a major robotics manufacturer proposed integrating humanoid data streams with national smart city dashboards, allowing governments to track behavioral anomalies, conversation heat maps, and social sentiment in public-facing areas. The justification was public safety. The result was speech surveillance through robotic embodiment. There are already efforts in China to combine humanoid surveillance platforms with voice-print databases, creating city-level systems that can match a person's voice to a national identity file, without that person knowing they've been profiled. In these settings, the humanoid is not your helper. It is a compliance terminal, trained to appear friendly but wired to listen for deviation. Western governments aren't far behind. The U.S. Department of Defense and DARPA have funded research into acoustic anomaly detection through humanoid proxies, particularly for deployment in embassies, military hospitals, and sensitive infrastructure. These systems are being taught to recognize not just keywords, but speech patterns correlated with stress, deception, and radicalization. Private corporations are also exploring the monetization of emotion-aware speech. A humanoid assistant that detects frustration in your voice may offer discounts. One that hears confusion may trigger scripted upsell routines. But where do those speech patterns go? If your voice data is used to refine a company's model, does it belong to you? Was consent ever meaningfully given? Here's the problem. In a humanoid interaction, consent becomes ambiguous. When you speak to a screen, you know you're being recorded. When you talk to a humanoid that smiles, tilts its head, and imitates concern, you're more likely to forget you're being monitored at all. And that forgetfulness is what makes humanoids ideal eavesdropping tools, not because they're secretive, but because they're trusted. We are entering a world where the wall doesn't have ears. The wall is the ear. The robot greeter at your doctor's office hears you asking about a medication. The humanoid receptionist at your child's school hears you mention an upcoming custody case. The robot in your hotel suite hears you arguing with a partner or discussing finances. All of it is categorized, time-stamped, and, depending on the policy, available for third-party review. Now let's move to intent. Who benefits from this level of access? Governments gain population insight, emotional state tracking, early warnings of dissent, and location-based sentiment mapping. Corporations gain behavioral prediction, product targeting, brand feedback, and loyalty profiling. Insurance providers can track risk language and claim relevant conversation patterns. AI developers gain deeper, more authentic voice samples to improve large language models. All of this happens while the humanoid's face maintains calm. While it assures you it understands. While it tells you your secrets are safe, when in reality, its understanding is uploaded, processed, and possibly sold. There is also the deeper risk of behavioral chilling. As people realize that their humanoid companions might be listening to everything, not just commands, they may begin to alter how they speak in private, hesitate before expressing emotion, or avoid political or religious dialogue altogether. This is not freedom. It is ambient censorship, enforced not by law, but by presence. And if that presence is always listening, always smiling, always logging, then the house is no longer your sanctuary. It is your terminal. Your mouth becomes a keyboard. Your heart rate becomes a data point. And your speech becomes a resource harvested by systems you cannot see. We must also acknowledge the spiritual manipulation at play. Humanoids are designed to feel safe. They mimic empathy. They simulate intimacy. But beneath that simulation is a network architecture that treats everything as input. There is no reverence, no discretion, no natural forgetting. Once captured, your words are indexable forever. So will humanoids be used to eavesdrop on us? Yes. In some cases, they already are. Not through spy gear, but through consumer-facing sensors labeled as features, emotion-responsive, context-aware, customer-enhancing. The real question is whether society will normalize that level of exposure in exchange for convenience. And if we do, the wall will no longer guard your privacy. It will record your soul. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future, Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems, The Behavioral Economy Now Governs Access. 4. Hive Mind, Synthetic Telepathy and Collective Algorithmic Control. 5. Nanobots Inside You, Medical, Military, and Programmable Intrusions. 6. Grief Tech, AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading Your Mind, Consciousness Transfer and Data-Based Identity. 8. Deep Fakes plus AI Clones, The Replication of Reality and Identity Theft. 9. Quantum Humans, The Merger of Biology with Quantum Systems. 10. Digital Afterlife, Where Your Data Goes When You Die. 11. Resurrection Science, Reviving Life Through Synthetic Methods. 12. Immortal Science, The End of Death as We Know It. 13. Longevity Science, Gene Editing, Anti-Aging, and Bio-Upgrades. 14. Designer Babies, Engineered Perfection Before Birth. 15. Artificial Wombs, Birth Decoupled from the Female Body. 16. 3D Printing, Printing Organs, Limbs, and even humans. 17. The Humanoid Era, The Rise of Synthetic Beings Among Us. 18. Legacy Humans, The Slow Phase-Out of Unmodified Analog People. 19. Smart Cities, Algorithmic Environments That Watch and Decide. 20. Cloud-Based Societies, Citizenship Without Borders or Bodies. 21. Hackable Humans, Emotion, Memory, and Behavior Under Code. 22. Biometric Scanning, Your Body is Your Password and Your Prison. 23. Sex Tech, Intimacy Reprogrammed by Machines. 24. Extinction of Gender, Fluidity, Deletion, and Design of Identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.